Yes, if you haven't heard the news by now, there is a new open-world Star Wars game currently in development. Although EA aren't making this game, it's Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment. Yes, it's official. This Star Wars game isn't supposed to release for at least another few years, and we have literally no other details about it, apart from the fact that it's open world and it's story-driven. But after 2023, EA will no longer hold an exclusive license with Lucasfilm and Disney to be the only developer of AAA Star Wars games, meaning we're about to see a lot more Star Wars games released over the next few years. This is only just the beginning.
This is just the beginning.
How long have we been waiting for an open world Star Wars game? Literally forever. It seems like the hardest style of Star Wars game to make, mainly I think because the Star Wars universe is so vast, such huge proportions, that to create an open world game you kind of need to condense things down to a single location in a specific time period and era. Today I want to talk about how Ubisoft's Star Wars game could work and everything Ubisoft Massive has worked on in the past, because this should give us at least some idea of how the game will look and feel. And Ubisoft Massive isn't a studio without previous controversies, so it's going to be interesting how things shape up. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. I think the big questions on everyone's minds are probably, what will this game be about? Who's the main character? Who do you play as? Will it be a new character or a pre-existing character? When will the game be set? In which era or time period? Is this finally the Boba Fett game we've all been wanting?
Jango Fett? Not quite.
So here's something interesting. Assassin's Creed Origins, which was developed by Ubisoft Montreal, not Ubisoft Massive, but it's still a Ubisoft developer, actually took a dig at Battlefront 2 and EA a while back. Listen to this.
Aren't you supposed to ask if I'll buy the trial token from you?
You want to pay to win? That's, aren't you a warrior? Where's your honor? Where's your sense of pride and accomplishment?
Ah yes, the infamous pride and accomplishment line. So Ubisoft were making fun of EA's handling of the Star Wars license, and now they're making their own Star Wars game? Feels a bit kind of unprofessional, hey? The irony of this is that Assassin's Creed Origins was also updated with a bunch of content only unlockable by microtransactions, like cosmetics, legendary weapons, and time saver items and map markers, stuff like that. So Ubisoft are the last company that should be making fun of this kind of thing. But enough about microtransactions. Who is Massive Entertainment? What have they worked on before? Well, the good news is they've had quite a lot of experience building open world games. Massive created Tom Clancy's The Division and The Division 2, both of which are online open world action RPGs. Earlier last decade as well, Massive also supported Ubisoft Montreal with creating Assassin's Creed Revelations and Far Cry 3. So there's lots of open world experience at the dev studio, but also very specific open world games. Both Division games are online only, meaning we could possibly be seeing something similar in this new Star Wars game. An online only RPG world set on some planet in the Star Wars universe, perhaps. Now, the first Division game actually broke Ubisoft's record for the highest amount of sales on day one. And a lot of people talk about how good the combat is with the unique third-person cover system, shooting and melee mechanics. It's a very good, solid game that was highly acclaimed at the time of release. Although the game wasn't without its issues. It got criticized a lot at launch for a lack of content, a mediocre story, and other technical bugs to do with online connectivity. The entire game is, after all, online. A lot of online games do have issues with connectivity, and to be fair, it's rare to see an online open world game launch without issues. We're going back a bit now to 2013, but remember when GTA Online launched? The thing barely worked for the entire first month, and now it's still one of the biggest open world, if not the biggest open world online game. One interesting note, a lot of people compare Massive's commitment to the Division games to Battlefront 2's Redemption by DICE. Each of these games launched a bit rough around the edges and not exactly as players had been expecting, but the developers stuck with each game and brought players back through updates and consistent support over a few years. Battlefront 2's player base grew, as did the Division's. Now, I think I can speak for everyone when saying the last thing people want is another Star Wars game that needs as much work as Battlefront 2 did after launch. Almost everyone in gaming admires DICE's dedication to bringing Battlefront 2 back to life, possibly the biggest redemption story in gaming in the last few years, but no one wants to go through that again. And with the Division 1 and 2 both having similar launches, a little shaky around the edges, you know, that kind of thing, I think we'd all hate to see a Star Wars game released in a similar way. But let's give them a chance. One thing I will say, The Division 2 is an absolutely gorgeous game, and open world exploration is a huge part of gameplay. And this is something that goes hand in hand with Star Wars. I'm going to spend countless hours exploring every corner, every nook and cranny of the open world Star Wars map they create, whether it's set on one planet or on several. Will space travel be a part of this game? Or will it be more of a you play as this character in this city on this planet and that's it kind of game? Is it going to be that? The Division 1 and 2 were built in the Snowdrop Engine, developed by Massive and Ubisoft, and there's only a small handful of games built in this engine. This is the same engine that's going to be used for the Star Wars game, so fingers crossed the game looks gorgeous. I think it's also important to note that both Division games are set in post-apocalyptic or post-pandemic cities, which is kind of a bleak thought at the moment. Not something we really want to think about. A little nervous smile there. The Division 1 is set in Manhattan and the Division 2 is in Washington. So the studio has a lot of experience building these types of cities. So could we be seeing a similar Star Wars city in the new game? What's the first city that comes to mind? Coruscant. Are Massive Entertainment picking up the pieces of Star Wars 1313, developed by LucasArts nearly 10 years ago? Is this the Boba Fett origin story we've all been waiting for? Which would go hand in hand with the Book of Boba Fett releasing in late 2021, but this game's not going to be out for a while yet. Lucasfilm Games talked a bit about the engine this game's being built in and how it's going to immerse players in the game. We know that fans of Star Wars value the feeling of immersion, of being transported into the Star Wars galaxy and moving through richly detailed environments. It's fun to imagine what the team at Massive can do within Star Wars by bringing their innovative spirit and their commitment to quality. And this is getting me excited for some of that stuff I just mentioned before about the detail in the open world. And it seems this game's been in development for a little while now. We've spent almost a year now working to get to know them and what they want to bring to the table. I think we're all really excited about where that project is going because they have a unique vision for the story and the game they want to deliver. I like the keyword unique in that sentence. The fact that it's going to be a unique Star Wars experience, something we've never had before, open world, it's got me excited. But there is one thing that does have me a little concerned. The fact Massive Entertainment are currently working on another massive game. Yes, that was some intentional repetition. So they're also making an Avatar game, which also has an unconfirmed release date, but that's a whole other universe they're going to be building alongside the open world Star Wars game. They've already been building that. Do they have the staff and the numbers to pull both games off at the same time? Well, although they build very different games, I think we can compare Massive to EA DICE. DICE has something around 640 employees, and these employees were split between building Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 at the same time, with some developers actually jumping between projects when they needed the extra attention. Both Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 are now complete games, but at launch were met with criticism for a lack of content and other issues. Gameplay in both games I always found to be really strong, as well as map and world design, all incredible. The games look stunning and amazing, but it seemed like the studio struggled to deliver both games alongside one another. We don't currently know if DICE are working on another Star Wars game, but it seems like they're fully focusing their efforts on the next Battlefield game, and perhaps that's because they learned their lesson doing Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 5 at the same time, realizing that to build both those games together is way too big a project. Now, Massive Entertainment has around the same number of employees as DICE, over 650 according to Wikipedia. DICE has 640. So are there enough resources within the company to be building both of these games alongside one another? My best guess is that Massive aren't going to be building the Division 3 anytime soon, and the team who's worked on that game all this time are now moving on to the new Star Wars game. It's going to be years before we see this new open world Star Wars game released. Starting from scratch in the Star Wars universe is no easy task, but it's exciting to see other publishers and development studios getting the chance to work with the Star Wars license, and I'm optimistic about what this open world Star Wars game is going to deliver. It's exciting stuff, and remember, there's an open world Star Wars game releasing before this one, LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga. This will be the most audacious open world Star Wars Wars game attempted to date, so hopefully this just gives us a small taste of more Star Wars open worldness to come. But I'd love to ask you what you think this new open world Star Wars game will be. What open world Star Wars game do you want to see made, and what's your opinion on it being developed by Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment? Do you think they can handle it? And don't forget to head over to my Instagram, Twitter, and to join my Discord for immediate Star Wars gaming news and details the moment I find out about them. Especially on Twitter, I'm usually on there first. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.